No matter how experienced of a rider you are or how long you've been riding, it's easy to overlook the importance of proper body position. This is a fantastic body position if I had sand, the ocean, and a drink with an umbrella in it. But not if I really want to ride this motorcycle. Welcome to Moto Trek. I'm Dusty Wessels, professional motorcycle instructor for West 38 Moto. One of the things I notice the most when I'm out on a ride, doing a tour, or doing a training is how out of whack a rider's body position is. Using proper weight shifting techniques, whether you're going uphill or downhill, accelerating, decelerating, or turning can make the difference in you feeling more comfortable and confident or worn out and depleted. So I'm standing up, rolling down the road on the bike. Where are my feet on the pegs? About 90% of the time, I ride with my arches on the pegs. The reason why I do this, it gives me ability to shift when I want to. It also gives me the ability to brake, use the rear brake when I want to. So I like the arches. Why would we ride on the balls of our feet? This is a pretty aggressive riding position. You'd probably, in this position, you don't want to be shifting a whole lot. You know you're not going to be shifting. You know you're not going to be using your rear brake. Let me give you a couple of examples of terrain that I would use this in. Climbing a steep hill, rocks, really a lot of loose rocks on the ground for a while, or sand. On the balls of your feet, those are where most of your nerve endings are. You can feel that's where your best balance is. You can move up and down, you can move side to side, you can feel the bike. You have a lot more stability and a lot more balance sense with the bike. I've added risers to my bike. Now, risers are a preference. A lot of people like risers, a lot of people don't like risers. I say it's a preference thing. So I ride standing up about 80–85% of the time, even when I'm on pavement. I don't want to put undue pressure on the bars, especially when I'm trying to operate the clutch, the brake, or the throttle very delicately. I don't want undue pressure there, and I don't want to squeeze the bars. So I would like them at a point where I can just reach out and touch them from a standing position. I like to keep a straight wrist as well when I'm operating the controls, so I'm not trying to bend to get there. So I'm more straight up and down, my back's not bent, my knees aren't bent a whole lot, more of a neutral, relaxed riding position. Risers don't prevent me from getting down here and being active when I'm climbing a hill or when I'm descending a hill or when I'm going around a corner. But they do allow me to relax a little bit, and they do allow me to operate the controls delicately. So what I like to do is find a happy medium for my bar position. This way, when I get out and I want to sit down and ride for a long day, if I got 500 miles to crank out, I'm comfortable. My arms are loose, my back's loose, my neck's loose, it's not too tight. When I get off-road, I transition immediately to a standing position where my bars are in a spot where they're kind of in the middle. That transition from sitting to standing doesn't mean now I have to stop and adjust anything. I personally don't like to stop and adjust anything. I don't want to do that while I'm out there, so I find a happy medium. That way I'm comfortable in both positions. Everybody's different. All of our body shapes and lengths of arms and torsos are different. So definitely when you put risers on, if you decide to, make sure they're adjusted well for when you're standing, right transitioning to when you're sitting. Let's talk about front and back body position. Two situations in which you would want your body more to the front are accelerating fast and climbing a hill. When you're accelerating fast, let's say you're going second to third gear, you're about 40 miles an hour, you shift gears and you hammer on that throttle, wide open road. If I don't have my weight all the way forward, as soon as I grab that throttle, it's going to shift my weight back. Do we want to be here? Do we want to have our weight back, straight elbow, a handful of throttle? No, there's no control there. So move your body before you give input to the bike. If you decide to grab a handful of throttle to take off, just shift your weight forward. I call it forward to go. Remember, move your body before you give input to the bike. So if I plan on grabbing a handful of throttle and taking off, slightly shift your body forward. When I talk about your weight, I'm talking about your hip weight. I'm not talking about your shoulders. This is not the way to shift your weight forward. This is the way to shift your weight forward. Keep your shoulder parallel with the bars. Keep your shoulders parallel with your hips. The other situation in which you want your weight forward is climbing a hill. When you're climbing that hill, how much weight you need to shift forward depends on how steep the hill is and how fast you want to climb it. Put your body position forward first. You can always adjust back. There are two situations in which you'd want your weight back on the motorcycle. One is slowing down. 2 is riding downhill. If my intent is to slow down really fast or just slow down, we already know all the weight from the motorcycle goes forward when we start to slow down. So if I grab a handful of brakes, do I want my weight here? No, not a very good control position. Always move your body weight first before you give input to the bike. So if I need to slow down fast, the first thing I'm going to do is shift my weight back. How far should I shift my weight back? Why not go to the extreme first? Shift your weight all the way back here. You can always shift your weight forward if you need to, but keep your weight all the way back at first. Keep your knees sliding along the tank seat area. Also squeeze just a little bit to add stability. Now when you're going downhill, same thing. Keep your weight all the way back. What we're doing mostly here is keeping as much undue pressure and weight off the bars and off the front tire as possible to allow it to track through the terrain better. We don't want the rear wheel moving a whole lot down a hill, so we keep our weight all the way back. Again, use your knees in the tank seat area to add more stability. Let's talk about the side-to-side body position. Where should my weight be when I'm in a turn? Weight should always be to the outside. For instance, if I'm taking a right-hand turn, I would want to put my knee into the tank. Again, use the knees in the tank. That's your pivot point and your stability point. I stick my knee in the tank and I shift my weight outside. 2 things determine how much weight you shift: how sharp the corner is and the speed in which you decide to take it. So if I'm going really slow around a really sharp corner, I'm going to shift as much weight outside as I can so the bike can lean in while maintaining traction to get around that corner. So put your knee in the tank, use that for stability, and shift your weight almost like you're sitting on that left rear bag. If you can put your hands in the air right here, you know you're doing it correctly. You want very little pressure or influence on any of these controls or the bars. Let's talk about 2 situations in which you would combine front and back body position and side-to-side body position. Cornering at speed. We already know when we grab a handful of throttle and we want to go faster, our weight should be forward. But now we're cornering, so our weight should be to the outside. Okay? So body position forward, squeeze that tank with your knees to give you some stability, pivot off that knee and just shift your weight to the outside. Arizona PD. But you want your weight forward and you want your weight outside. The other time when you combine rear weight or your weight back and outside is when you're going down a hill with corners. So you're going down a hill, you want your weight back. You're going around the corner, you want your weight back. Okay, it's not the neutral, just move our weight to the outside. No, it's back and move our weight to the outside. Remember, when you're trying to determine how much weight you should shift side to side or front to back, go to the extreme first. You can always balance it out. You know you're in the right body position when you feel the most balanced and stable.